This hearing will come to order. Without objection, all members' opening statements will be made a part of the record. The chair notes that some members may have additional questions for this panel, which they may wish to submit in writing. Without objection, the hearing record will remain open for 30 days for members to submit written questions to these witnesses and to place their responses in the record. I ask for unanimous consent to place in the record a letter with an attachment from Dr. Edwin Vieira, who could not appear on this panel today. Without objections, so ordered. I now recognize myself for 5 minutes to make an opening statement. First, I want to welcome our panel today to discuss a very important issue dealing with monetary policy. We've had a series of hearings and discussion in this committee dealing with monetary policy, mostly directed around Federal Reserve policy and the Federal Reserve. Today, there's not to be that much emphasis on the Federal Reserve itself, but on money, the issue of what it means, what our history is like on money, whether we can have parallel currencies, and what the founders might have thought about parallel currencies. But the world's in the midst of a crisis today, and many of us believe it is related to a deeply flawed monetary system, a deeply flawed understanding of what money should be, a rejection of the notion that money should have real value and that money originated in the marketplace rather than originating from a computer over at the Federal Reserve. And though today the general public as well as the financial markets have a difficult time wanting to accept that or even understand it, ultimately it is the nature of money that I believe we'll have to come to grips with and make a decision about it. Because as we speak, they're meeting in Europe and ECB's deciding what to do in manipulating their money and credit as well as we here in the United States. We in this country have been given some benefits definitely by being able to issue the reserve currency of the world. And because there is no definition to money, and because we can create money out of thin air, we've had some advantages. But the whole world is engulfed in this problem because of this lack of determination, a lack of desire to understand what money is all about. So today we want to discuss that and get the testimony from our witnesses to try to further understand this nature of money and credit, and whether it is necessary or not to have a precise definition. Also, really, we want to talk about parallel currencies. Can currencies circulate next to each other? And I think the answer is rather clear. They're doing it all the time internationally. Currencies are circulating all the time, and in the computer age, they adjust their values rather quickly. But the question is can we have parallel currencies within the United States? Would it be legal? Does it contradict the Constitution? What would the state's role be in this? And what can they do? And under these circumstances, it does raise a lot of questions because it raises tax questions and the authorities on how they're going to respond and what you can do, what one can do with currencies without having the wrath of Big Brother and big government coming down on us and saying, no, you can't do that. But today we have an absolute monopoly control over money and credit. They're managing a money that they can't even define. And then they wonder why we have chaos in the marketplace. I see a time coming where there will be a response to the problems that we have, a response that I will endorse, and that is for monetary reform. But it won't happen because of our hearings today. I know we're going to have a great hearing and great testimony, and there'll be lots of words of wisdom, but we're not going to walk away and all of a sudden the world's going to say, that makes a lot of sense. We have to deal with this. But the one thing that I'm convinced of is that the current system that we have, because we don't deal with the issue of money, is the financial system worldwide is going to get a lot worse. because they're not admitting the truth of what's happening, because the system that we've had for so many years and so many decades, that it has encouraged a system of horrendous debt. And not only are many of our companies and banks and states and countries are insolvent, and then they wonder why we have a problem. But if they don't admit to it and think that, well, the solution is just creating more and more money. So that is an overwhelming task for that reform. But in the meantime, is there anything that we can do to emphasize and to promote the interest of and the understanding of what sound money would be by just permitting parallel currencies? Why can't we have the freedom to do this? We claim we live in a free country and a free society, but are we allowed to have parallel currencies? Are we allowed to have competition? Are we allowed to have something in addition to a cartel and monopoly that has controlled money and credit and has created a worldwide monster that they have no answers for? So this is the reason I think it's a very, very important subject. And once again, I want to welcome our panel.